Ratios. What occurs once every minute, twice every moment, but never in 1,000 years? The letter M. Today's lesson is on ratios. We're going to write ratios and use them to compare quantities. This is an introductory skill for the Common Core Standard of 7.RP.2. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. You can write a ratio in three ways. You can write 5, the word 2, and 7. That's a comparison of 5 to 7. You can put 5:7, which is also read 5 to 7. The third way to write it is as a fraction, 5/7. If you had just variables, it would be A to B with a colon B, which is read A to B, or as a fraction, A over B, where B cannot be 0. Equivalent ratios are two ratios that name the same number. Another way to say equivalent ratios, they're equal ratios. They're ratios that are exactly equal. Pause the video if you need more time to complete the notes. Don't forget, you need to record a question if you have one over these notes. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. For example 1, writing ratios. There are 7 red stripes and 6 white stripes on the flag of the United States. Write the ratio of red stripes to white stripes in 3 ways. First, we're going to use the word 2. So we're going to have 7 to 6. Then we're going to write it using a colon. 7:6, which again is read 7 to 6. And finally, we're going to write it as a fraction, 7/6. When you're writing ratios, you're going to leave them improper, which I know goes against everything we've pounded into your head all year. But ratios are comparison of two numbers. So if it's a comparison of two numbers, you must leave it in that fraction form. Now for the quick check. Number 1, write each ratio in 3 ways. Use the pattern on piano keys shown at the right. A, white keys to all keys. There are 7 white keys, and there are 12 total keys. So the ratio is 7 to 12, 7:12, and 7/12. Now for 1B, black keys to white keys. We'd start with the 2, 5 to 7, because there are 5 black keys and 7 white keys, 5:7, and finally 5/7. Pause the video if you need more time to complete the notes. Number 2, writing equivalent ratios. This is the same thing as writing equal fractions or equivalent fractions. We're going to be simplifying by either dividing both the top and the bottom by the same number, or we can multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. In this case, we're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 14/4 is the same as 7/2. Now let's take a look at number 3, writing equivalent ratios. Write the weight ratio 2 pounds to 56 ounces is a fraction in simplest form. To be able to do this, we have to have the same label on the top and the bottom. If we're talking about 2 pounds and 56 ounces, we have to convert those pounds into ounces. Well, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound, so we're going to take 2 pounds times 16 ounces. 2 times 16 is 32. So we have 32 ounces over 56 ounces. Now we must simplify this by dividing both the top and the bottom by 8. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 56 divided by 8 is 7. So this ratio simplifies to 4/7. Pause the video if you need more time to complete the notes. Don't forget, you need to record a question if you have one over these notes. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. For number 4, comparing ratios, The ratio of girls to boys enrolled at King Middle School is 15 to 16. There are 195 girls and 208 boys in grade 8. Is the ratio of girls to boys in grade 8 equivalent to the ratio of girls to boys in the entire school? We're going to set up the two ratios, and then we're going to cross multiply just like we did comparing fractions to figure out if 5/16 is equal to 195 to 208. We'll begin by cross multiplying. 208 times 15 is 3,120. 16 times 195 is also 3,120. Since the two cross products are the same, the ratio of girls to boys in grade 8 is the same as the ratio of girls to boys in the entire school. Pause the video if you need more time to complete the notes. Don't forget, you need to record a question if you have one over these notes. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. Try the quick check 2, 3, and 4 on your own. Pause the video, work them out. When you're done working them out, start the video again to check your answers. Three possible solutions for number 2 are 14 over 18, 21 over 27, and 28 over 36. These are not all the possibilities because there's an infinite number of equivalent ratios. But these are the first three when you multiply by 2 over 2, 3 over 3, and 4 over 4. If you did a different one, you can always check with me to make sure that it's correct. For number 3, you had to write the ratio of 3 gallons to 10 quarts as a fraction in simplest form. We start by writing the ratio of 3 gallons over 10 quarts. Then we have to convert the gallons into quarts. There are 4 quarts in a gallon, so we multiply the fraction by 4 quarts over 1 gallon. That gives us a total of 12 over 10, which needs to be simplified by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now we're ready to determine if the following ratios are equivalent or not equivalent. Write both ratios as a fraction, so we have 7 over 3 and 128 over 54. We're going to cross multiply 54 times 7, which is 378. Now we're ready to multiply 3 times 128, which is 384. Since we cross multiplied and we did not get equal answers, these two ratios are not equivalent. Let's take a look at example B. Again, we write both ratios down as fractions just as they are, and we start cross multiplying. We're going to take 34 times 180, which is 6,120. Now we take 240 times 25, which is 6,000. Again, the two products are not equal, so these two ratios are not equivalent. For example C, we have 6.1 to 7 and 30.5 to 35. We write them both as fractions, so 6.1 over 7 and 30.5 over 35. We're going to cross multiply 35 times 6.1, which is 213.5. Then we cross multiply 7 times 30.5, which is also 213.5. Since the two products are equal, the two ratios are equivalent. Pause the video if you need more time to complete the notes. Don't forget, you need to record a question if you have one over these notes. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow.